Alrighty.
Yeah, that was the Tiny Prince was actually one of my mates. I just asked him.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, we are back. I'm.
Even D&D has.
Don't have any viewers back at the moment, but I'm sure they'll shortly return, and hopefully they will have sound this time.
Yeah. All good.
Can I quickly clarify what stuff we had lost? So I know that, like you said, we still have our battle axe and stuff, but does that mean like some of my shield as well, or like is everything gone except for that battle axe?
No. So basically, what you were carrying on your person. So at the time, you were carrying your axe, your shield, and like anything else that you might have had, your character might have had on them at the time. But anything extra that you might have like stowed away earlier when you were sailing, stored away in your bunk and all that kind of stuff, that would have been lost
like
with the ship
backpacks and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Unless you're actually carrying that as well, you're fully decked out in all your equipment. But I know some of you were like had put your stuff where you're quartered on the vessel, and yeah, it would have still been there when the ship sank.
That makes sense. I was a bit confused.
That's right. So
Basically, I just looked at it and went, well, I'm not going to be needing 10 torches in my bag while navigating on the ship, so that's stored.
Yeah. That's it. So, like I said, you guys arrive in what appears to be the remains of this camp. Spider webbing, or some kind of webbing, seems to like completely cover this site and even the ground itself, and you realise that it's pretty sticky. Sharkbite, you look at it and you make a nature roll to determine what it is, if this is kind of natural. Alright, so I will say you haven't personally encountered it, but you had heard stories of large spiders that exist in the world that can make this kind of webbing. So
help me narrow down what island this might be.
No, because every island, there's a lot of islands out there that could hold giant spiders. It's pretty random. It doesn't help you narrow down what kind of island this could be.
Is the campfire actually going?
No.
That was my next question. Okay, so it's not
actually.
Campfire.
Yeah. It's like this camp, despite how it looks here, is kind of in ruins. In fact, the actual campfire, it's not as clear as how it is on the screen. It's actually completely covered in the webbing. You can't only just make it out. Bits and pieces you can make out to indicate that there's a kind of campfire in the center. So yeah, you guys now have the option of proceeding further if you wish. But journeying deeper into the center, it is going to be difficult because the webbing gets thicker as you begin to make your way further in.
Is there sticks all around the floor of the jungle?
Yeah, there's broken sticks and branches and all that kind of stuff just laying around.
Does anyone have cloth that they don't want?
Viet could rip off a portion of his shirt or of his outfit because he's only common clothes. So he could quite easily rip off a sleeve and hand it to old Sharkbite.
So I'll take that and thank Viet for it, and then I'll wrap that around the stick and cover it in oil and use my fire striker to light a torch.
Cool. Alright, so the radius of a torch is what, 5 feet?
I think it's 20 and 20 or something. I can look that up. Although I was intending to use it to try and get rid of some of the web. If it's sticky enough where I think it's going to impede movement, that's going to fuck my life up.
Well, considering you are peg leg. Sure. So I would say at this point, you've got a torch currently going. Just for the sake of ease, we'll just put a... There you go. So that's the light.
It is 20 and 20. By the way.
20 and 20. Oh, okay, so...
Oh. I was beaten.
Sorry. Just for personal my own reference as well. Cool. So so you begin to make your way further and start lighting the webbing.
Yeah, I'll just burn away whatever's in front of me, just crouching low, and make my way into the camp to look around for whatever evidence of who might have been there or why they might have been there.
No problem.
Stamps on boxes and stuff that might indicate like a trading company or that kind of stuff.
Sure. All right. So you begin to make your way further in.
While he does that, I'm going to find a very, very tall tree and climb up and see if I can
scout
a bit more. Scout a bit more of the surroundings, and also take out the map that I've got and see if I can determine a location.
All right. So there's plenty of trees around. You quite literally walked by a whole bunch before arriving at the camp. So finding a tree.
I'm looking for a particularly tall one that would stick out above the others as well.
Yeah, you do find one. It is a little bit it is a little bit further than 5 feet in, but you do find one. And being quite adept at climbing, it doesn't take much effort in climbing up. So it takes you about 10 feet in the air, 10, 15 feet. But high enough so that you can kind of look over the rest of the campground. As you watch, old Sharkbite begins to move further and further in, slowly burning away, and you see the webbing kind of just go up in little tufts of smoke, and just as it makes its way through. Percy's a little hesitant because he doesn't want to get in contact with any of the webbing. He's germophobia kind of kicking in. Viet soon follows behind. I'll get Viet and old Sharkbite to actually make a perception roll.
Be it that we're all in the same spot at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Salty would come back to my shoulder.
Yeah. So yes, Salty at this point has flown back to you. It's now currently perched on your shoulder.
Part of what helps me look so well.
So...
Fuck!
Not so well this time. But thankfully, Viet's a bit more sharp-eyed than old Sharkbite. The cataracts are kicking in on for old Sharkbite. But Viet, you actually spot some movement in one of the nearby tents, and as you look over, you see what the remains of what looks to be a tarp or some kind of canvas, and you see something kind of moving under it, and it's moving away from you. And as you look closer, you see what it is coming out the other end. And it appears to be a large kind of spider kind of crawling out from underneath the canvas. And as you see that one, you spot another one next to it.
And Viet will just yell out, "What the fuck is that? What is that?"
There will be arachnids in the camp.
I'm out.
Yeah. Red
Brad
Sand.
is out.
Yeah,
No,
to Brad the player.
that's player, yeah.
Yeah, Brad the player is out now. He's no longer getting involved. It's like peace. It was nice knowing you people. But yeah, you see these two giant spiders kind of just sitting there at the other end of this like ruined tent.
Do they look hostile?
They seem to be reacting. I would say they're not so much hostile at the moment.
I'll wave the torch sort of in front of us, just showing that, like, obviously, I don't imagine they're intelligent, but just, as you do to, like, ward off things in general, I'll just wave the torch sort of in front of me, because I can imagine most animals don't like fire.
Yeah. And as you're doing this, I will say, Red Sand, as you react to Viet kind of crying out, you see these two spiders, which makes you alert. It's like, well, could there be any others? I'll get you to do a perception roll as well. Alright, so as you're looking around, you begin to see more spiders beginning to appear in different areas around the camp.
Are they converging on our location, or...?
They seem to be reacting to your presence, yes, but they don't actually appear to be getting closer at this stage. They just seem to be coming out of the webbing, so to speak.
I'll call down and relay this information on. That there is more coming out of the other tents and that.
Yep. Cool. Percy, what are you doing?
I'm going to go up to... Wait, I'm there. So 5, 10, 15... This is really hard to see. Sorry, I'm blind. 5, 10, 15, 20... Yeah, I'm just going to move up here. Oh, wait, do we not have to do that?
No, you don't have to move. You don't have movement restrictions when you're not in combat, I believe. It's only
There's
when you're in
also-
combat.
There's a ruler on the top left bar that you can use to measure stuff if, like, seeing the grid is pretty hard.
Yeah, well, anyway, I've moved up now. And
Yeah, that's fine.
just going to chill there.
Alright. So at this point, you all now clearly see these spiders that are kind of like moving around the camp. They are trying to... Well, they are moving towards you.
I look to Percy and Viet that have come up with me, and I say, we should nae provoke the beasts unless we want to earn their ire. But perhaps we show that we're not to be trifled with.
Okay.
Have you any ideas?
And Bear just looks at you stupidly and cold and just goes, nope.
So blatantly, Viet just like, no. What should we do?
No.
I'll pull out my book and go through and have a look. And I'll cast my voice out and create tremors in the ground, like very, very strong vibrations centered from where we are, to try and make us seem more imposing. And I'll say, "Begone, ye beasts!"
Yep. And this kind of like comes out in a loud kind of booming voice or vibrates along the ground.
Yeah, I mutter a few strange sounding, unnatural words that don't sound like they would come out of a human mouth, and then I speak that towards the creatures, and these vibrations start rumbling beneath us.
Okay. So are they like just a spell effect, or is it just a...
Yeah, that's me using thaumaturgy.
Okay, so yeah, you do see... So the effect is noticeable, and you do see the kind of the spiders sort of lift their legs up every now and again. Bit caught off guard, but they don't really flee. They kind of move around, resorting themselves, but they don't actually. But you do see their front leg. You know that like threatening pose that spiders do. They lift their front legs up as if they're about ready to strike. They start making those kind of stances. So I will at this point.
Just before we go any further, is the tree that I'm in? Am I able to get enough purchase so that I can use my bow? Or is it like a smooth palm tree and I literally have to hold on with at least one hand?
You can make the attempt, but there's always a risk that you might fall off. There are areas that you can kind of like sit on to get a shot, but as you said, it is a kind of like a palm tree sort. So yeah, there's no real handholds, and the trunk is relatively smooth in some areas. So there's always the risk. You can get a shot off, but it will be at a bit of disadvantage because there's always the risk, because you're basically using half your time balancing yourself while the other half shooting.
Yeah, I'll take the opportunity now to climb back down then.
Yep. So you decide to climb back down and meet up with the others.
Yep.
Cool. So you notice while the spiders are actually making some threatening stances and all that, they haven't actually proceeded any closer to any of you.
Well, that gives me some confidence that we're intimidating them somehow, trying to show that we have a bigger presence than we do. I'll take a hesitant, couple steps forward and see if they react.
Yep.
Whether they come closer or go further back.
They could more be reacting to the fact that you're burning away the web and they're not quite sure where we are.
Well, I'm trying to give them as many offensive fronts as possible, just so they know that we're not some creature and we're, I guess, more dangerous.
So you do notice this one up here did actually step away as you got closer.
All right, then I'll look back and I'll say, "Stay close near me, lest the beasts come close to ye," and I'll try and approach the tent slowly. And yeah,
So
I'll
really
give way
checkers.
for I'll give way for everybody else to inspect the tent whilst I stand out the front and monitor the beasts.
All right. So, Bretzan, Viet, Percy, you can all make an investigation or perception check depending on what's better. Cool. Okay. Cool. All right. Oh. You're getting there. So Percy, you follow suit, but you're more worried about the spiders behind you, and the fact that you're rummaging through even though the fire's burning off some spiders' web, there's still some laying around, and you're not able to concentrate very well on actively searching. But Viet and Red saying you go make your way into the first camp, and let's see. You both managed to find a few items. So Viet, you actually find a broken cutlass that appears to actually be half buried in the ground, and it is actually covered in dried blood and dirt. See. And as you actually continue going through, Red saying you actually find you find a small steel case with what appears to be a lock that's rusted.
I will take that and investigate it later.
Sure. And I should actually make note of something I missed before. When you actually made your way into the camp, Red Sand, you actually felt a kind of pulsing sensation coming from a particular item that you've had in your possession before you set sail.
Gee, I wonder what item that is.
Your right shoe.
Yeah, it's coming. It's actually. It's fungal toe disease.
No wonder it's magic.
Yeah, but yeah, it didn't happen at first, but as you actually made your way closer to the actual camp, you began to actually feel that sensation. Alright, so you actually take possession of the cutlass. Red Sand, you take possession of the case. And I will also say that amongst the other, there are a few items that are not real worth, but you do find 2 leather bags, like little pouch. I should say little pouches.
I'll definitely take one of those, especially if it's big enough for this case.
Yep. So you take one, and I'm assuming
hand the other one to whoever's within arm's reach.
Yep, I will say Viet's within arm's reach because it's only been the 2 of you that's actually gone in to look. And immediately as you pick these up, you hear the very familiar chink, chink, chink of coin in both little pouches. But apart from that, you don't really find anything else of value within the remains of this tent.
At this stage, I'm thinking the thrumming is becoming a bit overbearing, so I will take out the item. So you pull out this book and you begin to go through it, and you don't actually find anything that could explain the thrumming. It's almost like it's the best way you could describe it is if it was reacting to something. Not so much as it's notifying you that something's happened to you. Okay, well, I will rotate on the spot with it held out and see if it gets stronger in a particular direction.
No, it appears to not get any stronger, but it doesn't get any like less. Like, it's the same sort of pulsing sensation. And all the while, these spiders are currently, like, surrounding, like, moving around, kind of stalking, but they haven't gone any further, but they haven't gotten any closer.
Obviously slightly nervous, I'll look back into the tent and be like, have you found anything of note in there?
Viet will pull out the bloodied and broken cutlass and just say only this.
A sword that's been split. Signs of a conflict.
Then Viet would just nod in agreement.
Now, just one more question about the book.
Yes.
Did the vibrations increase in that distance between the start of the camp and this tent, or?
A fraction. It's almost like you were already almost on top of it when you got to that tent.
So it's either I've already got it or it's something else in the tent.
Yeah.
Or sand.
Well, you're like, you've pretty much found everything that is of value in there. So you come to you surmise that you found what's ever causing it.
Does red sand come out?
I will, yeah.
So I'll look to see that everybody's ready to move on. And try and get to one of the other tents or the other belongings. I'll show that I intend to move this way. And then start carefully stepping towards that direction.
Yep. Well,
Sure.
I'm guessing we're all going to follow suit as well. I am.
I will say at this point, Sharkbite, I'll get you to make a nature roll. Okay, so you haven't picked up on anything.
Excellent. Does this rowboat look functional?
You look at it and immediately notice that the sand is completely, is like half filled the rowboat. You can't see the bottom of it.
Well, it's something to note for later.
But between the four of us, can we tip it over so we can inspect the bottom of it?
You can attempt to. I will say because it is thoroughly buried, you'll need to. I will say one of you make an athletics roll with advantage because the rest of you are helping.
Viet will do that.
Alright, so Viet offers to kind of try and lift the rowboat out with. Well, Viet, you roll, but this is like everyone's doing it, but I'll say Viet, you make the roll with advantage. Alright, so you all begin to push on the side of lift the side of the boat as best you can, and when you actually, after a few trials, you do manage to get the actual boat out of the ground, so to speak, out of the sand, and the bottom of it is gone. You notice massive holes. It's like
It's a
literally the
shame
whole.
we may have a carpenter on the crew.
We still might be able to use it as a framework for something. For shelter.
Yeah.
Best be on the lookout for nails then. And I'll
Take
keep
one of them. Take one of these tents. The actual canvas itself.
Yeah, I'm sure all the boxes and stuff actually have parts
Yeah.
as well.
Are these crates actually there, or are they just ambient?
No, they're there. They're there. They're like. They appear to be intact.
Oh, I'll give them a check over as we pass them as well.
Yeah, that was the intended trajectory, is to look at the boat, then look at the crates.
Sure.
Because that way we can figure out if there's any food stuff that we can salvage, or again just the wood itself.
Yeah. So you open up to have a look inside, correct? Or
Yep. We'll go through them.
Yeah. So you do find enough supplies, and there's it kind of looks like rations and funnily enough, about a dozen bottles of rum in one of the crates, and
The real treasure.
but yeah, throughout the supplies, you do find at least 3 days worth of rations, enough to feed the crew, like the 5 of you, and
Plus the others.
Very good.
As at this point, some of you actually realise maybe you should actually someone should go back and let Elryn know what you found.
On the note of rations,
Yes.
I'll just share the ability again. I would have been looking at the plants and all that in the area on the way through as well for scavenging, because I can provide enough food for 6 people.
Yeah. Well, throughout your as you make money, you have spotted a few different berries, different bits of plant life, and other things that you can use to feed yourselves with.
So
Plenty of plenty of food in the forest, in the jungle.
And I would have been like picking them and handing them out all along, so we won't be, oh, we've been here for 6 hours and I'm hungry.
Yeah. So,
we need protein. We can always kill a spider.
See, someone's thinking. By the way, they are still hanging around. They haven't run off.
What proof is the alcohol?
There's no markings on the bottle. The only reason why you know it's from is because someone popped one of the corks and had a whiff, and it kind of singes the nose a little.
All right, well, I'll take one anyways.
Take a mouthful and blow it across the torch. Fire breather.
Good point. I'll do that.
All right. All right. So you grab one of the bottles, you take a swig, like a mouthful, and you.
I drink a mouthful first, and then I do it.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
So you take a mouthful. Now make a Constitution saving throw.
Nice.
All right. You've had stronger stuff. This is nothing. So then you take another mouthful and you lower the flame of your torch to get a good, spray effect, and you blow it in any specific direction.
Away from anything.
Okay, so
this way.
This way. And you do get a fire breathing roll. I don't know.
Dragonborn?
Make it. Hey?
Lungs? Would that be Constitution?
Yeah.
Slide of lungs.
Yeah, I would say Constitution. Yeah, use just a straight up Constitution. Okay, so you do spray it out, and it does kind of create a small stream in front of you, about 10 feet in front of you, but you're more of a sprayer, not a streamer, and it more goes up in like a ball, like a puff of smoke, like kind of like a quick fireball. It's like,
okay. Well, that's good. That means we can use this for portals and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'll pocket another bottle on my person, and then I'll just hold the other one in my free hand.
Cool.
Do the crates? Oh yeah, that's it. Do the crates have any markings of any specific ship or company or anything?
Make an investigation roll.
The ideal would be that they're relevant to the ship that we were seeking, but
Perception or investigation?
Oh, perception?
Yeah, perception or investigation.
I'll take that.
Yours is better.
You begin to look around the crates and all that, and
Well, now I'm interested.
you see stamped in the side of the wood property of the Calm Delilah.
It seems we be on the case, mates. Did we know what route that they were taking? Like, what actual... I'm assuming the reason why we knew where to go to try and find the ship was because it had, like, a trade route or something, right?
Let's see. You definitely know it was headed west away from Waterdeep. But as to where it was actually going...
Did you actually voice that out loud, Sharkbite?
Well, I'm assuming there would have been intermittent conversation of me trying to tell you guys when searching the first tent to look for any names or stuffs, because I'm trying to discern what island we actually might be on in order to get off the island.
Because seeing the Calm Delilah, I just blurt out, it is that island.
You know the island we be walking on.
Sandy.
It is the Sandy Island.
I've got an idea. And I think this might be called Dead Man's Isle.
Well, it ain't be far from the truth as this camp is telling any tales.
No pun intended, but the cat's out of the bag.
Would I know where that is?
You make an intelligence roll. Oh no,
Is he
history.
on a map? Because I
History.
do have a map.
History roll. History roll. History roll.
Fuck. Oh,
Oh, you,
I know everything.
you've heard of the stories of Dead Man Isle. Of the stories of like the vast treasures that it supposedly holds, but also as vast as the treasures that it holds, the dangers are just as equally vast. But as to its location, it's only in rumour mill. As to where its location might be, no one truly knows where it might be located, so it's not marked on any kind of map. Any map that you've come into possession of.
I'll say to Red Sand, I'll say, do you have any reason to believe that this is the right isle? Is that what you be reading there in that journal of yours?
I think so, yes.
Now, as this is, sorry, just interlude.
Yep.
As this has been going on, I say about 10-15 minutes has gone by. Elryn, you've come back out after your search of trying to find the shipwreck, and you're currently at the camp that that was made up the night before. You sit there and you wait. Are you continuing to wait, or do you wish to, or are you impatient and decide to make your way into the jungle?
Well, I wasn't really given any instructions on what to do. So I would probably first open the bag that I got and have a look at what's inside.
Okay, so Elryn, you open up the bag and you find. Oops, hang on. Apologies if I'm wrong. You find the following: 10 wet torches, a wet tinderbox, soggy rations, soaked rope, a hammer and a crowbar, and you find these little pitons. They're like little spiked balls, ball bearings, little spiked tacks kind of things. No, they're little
pitons or whatever, however it's called. They're the things that you
hammer into the
rocks for rock climbing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're like spikes with a flat end on one side and obviously sharp end on the other. It looks like you might use the hammer to smack them into something. Let's see. Hunting traps. Now, they wouldn't be in your backpack, correct?
Probably not, no.
No. So, so the rope, you do find water skin full of water. 10 soaked rations, soaked in the box, 10 soaked torches, 10 batons, a hammer, and a crowbar.
Okay.
That's all you find.
Alright, well, I'll leave all that in there.
Yep.
None of that really interests me that much. I would probably just go exploring on my own.
Alright. So do you continue exploring the coastline, or do you make your way into the jungle?
Into the jungle.
Alright, so I will say, for the purposes of this, you do actually find, before you went into swim around and explore, you actually saw where the others made their way in. And so you kind of follow that same route. And you do, as you get deeper and deeper, you actually see indication, like the path that was made by the others from all the chopping of the branches and leaves and all that. So you do see a pathway that's formed from the others. But it is still a bit of a difficult trek to make, so I'll get you to do a survival check.
Okay.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't have been entirely clear if I was going back and forth to various bushes and that.
Yeah.
as well, so.
Yeah. So you follow this kind of vague looking path that obviously the others have made. There are times when you kind of get a little sidetracked, like go off course a little bit, but it pretty much abruptly stops at like a bush where there was some berries, and then another one where there looked to be another kind of fruit, and yeah, so you begin to make your way further and further, but you seem to stick on the same path. So after about an hour, because it took the others about an hour to find this camp, and after finding the camp, they've been investigating it for about 15 minutes. And so your swimming around only took you about 10-15 minutes. So you do just make it to the edge of the camp, and you find the others kind of over here. So you've just arrived at the edge of the camp, and you see them investigating these crates and all that. You see Sharkbite with the makeshift torch. And you see all this off around the exterior of the camp and different areas within the camp itself. You just see this thick webbing, and you look over to your left and you see these large spiders kind of just roaming, and they suddenly turn towards you.
Would you even know what a spider looks like?
Probably not.
Land crabs.
How big are they?
Well, if the token's anything to go by, they're bloody big.
Yeah, they're a really animal size, I would say, compared
They'd be about Percy sized.
Yeah, they're about roughly the same size as Percy.
Actually, Percy should have a smaller token because Percy's a small creature. So token should actually be a quarter of the size that it is. So they're bigger than Percy. If they're medium...
It's a bit much.
I think just for purposes of ease, I just have it like that.
Yeah, but medium creatures, for reference, are between 4 and 8 feet long.
Yeah.
So
Percy, if you really wanted to, could try and ride one of them.
Ugh.
I always thought
Spider
that
cavalry.
small and medium shared the same base size. It's tiny that has the quarter size, like your bird.
Well, in theory, they take up half the size, so they take up a quarter space. I think the actual bases that they make all the models on still have the same size, though. 'Cause it's once again, like the shrinking of that token, it would be pretty tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, does that mean they're a size larger than I am?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Slightly bigger
I
than
can use
bigger than you.
nimbleness.
You
This-
can
they-
real
they-
well.
for the purposes of game wise, they are canon as meeting creatures.
Just taking a step back before Elryn gets overwhelmed by aggressive spiders, would she have been making enough noise for us to hear her coming?
Yeah.
For that, you need to make a perception.
In mind, I do have
Or Elryn,
a
were you
passive
trying to
perception of
stealth?
18.
Nah, I wasn't trying to stealth.
So,
I was
sorry,
like-
Cory, I didn't catch that.
Oh, my passive perception is 18, if that's relevant. Because I'm not actively looking
yeah.
for her, but...
Yeah.
My bad.
Passive perception. If Elryn wasn't making any attempt at stealth, I would say for the purpose more of this, you saw her approach than heard her. You kind of were looking up and you're looking around, just trying to keep an eye on the spiders, and you happen to turn in the right direction, and you see Elryn kind of come out of the woods, out of the actual jungle.
I'll freeze, looking startled at her sudden appearance, and then look around at the spiders, and then say, "Wait, nay, move an inch."
Why?
Because yeah,
Because those things are coming at you.
Say the creatures respond to your movements. I suggest you back away slowly and come round to where we are.
Follow the burnt path if you can. And if I ready my bow.
Engage the artillery.
alright, so before you get any further, so I'd say about there,
Yeah, and about that point is when I was going to go,
Yeah.
and then I fire.
and then you fire. Okay, so I will say, because it's focused on Elryn, Red Sand, you will get a shot off.
Give it a good old show of force.
Twang.
You do hit. So, Elryn, as you're about to be attacked by the spider, you just see this arrow just hit it right in the side, and it kind of like, I suppose, gives off this like weird sort of high pitched like noise that you've never heard before. It's like a squeal of pain, and you hear like the clicking of its like what you can see now, these like little like fangs.
As I knock a second arrow, I say, I suggest we now leave.
Yeah.
Well, looking at this spider over here, does it seem to be reacting as much? Because I can imagine whatever movement she has over there is divided between the tremors that I'm emitting into the ground.
Oops, no. It is actually starting to make its way around.
Oh. That's concerning. Maybe they have like a hive mind or some shit.
Ooh.
But in saying that, this arrow, the Red Sand hits this the spider with an arrow. After it kind of recovers from the sudden attack that it received, it will strike back at Elryn.
What? I didn't even hit it.
You're the closest target to it.
Rude.
You're the snack now.
Ooh.
Oh, bye.
Shit, you're just dead.
Yeah, so you... okay. Oh, damn it. No.
At least being a wolf spider, I don't think it should have any venom.
It's D&D, man.
Yeah.
That's
It's
kind of why I
D&D, bro.
trailed off a little bit.
Alright, so for the purposes of this, oops. So you will take I'm just going to roll, do it how it normally does it, 1d6. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oops, hang on. I'm just doing addifications. Come on.
At least you have more health now.
Oh. That is true.
Okay. So 8, or are you still counting?
Oh, I've added it all up. There was a note in here. I just wanted to be absolutely certain. Okay. So, in probably a fit of anger and pain and survival instincts, it strikes at Elryn and it catches you kind of off guard, in a sense. You thought that blow would have completely almost incapacitated it, but it does strike at you and it bites down hard on you. And it's an effective strike and it deals a total of 19 damage.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm just on the ground then.
Yeah.
Spider food.
Shit.
Well, that's concerning.
And I will. Okay.
Did the bite itself look lethal?
Yeah, it got her in I'd say around where her kidneys are. Kind of got her in the mid-ranged area.
Trying to figure out whether I'd be able to recognise that there was poison by the bite, or if it was just system shock and she fell over. I don't think my character's that wise.
The skin around the bite is turning blue.
Oh, like visibly from here?
That's what I'm
saying. She's already blue. But she does need to make a Constitution saving throw.
I get it.
But I need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
Just in case you're not entirely dead already.
Okay. Cool.
So
you are now kind of collapsed on the ground, unconscious.
Yes.
Oh, damn it.
Sharkbite. That bottle of rum that you got in your hands.
Well, I was thinking about that since I picked it up.
Toss it and burn it.
I think, and I say, I may have something better to ward off the creatures than earning their wrath. And I pull out the same little trinket that I've given to Elryn once before. It's like a small, polished bit of silver that's reflective, that also has some like very bright coloured hairs tied into it. It's like this little talisman charm thing. And I'll throw it over at her and ward her with Sanctuary.
So it awards her Sanctuary.
So I'll throw the talisman basically right next to her body, and I'll say to the rest of the group, that should protect her from the immediate attention of the spider if we can recover her quickly. And I'll start taking what would be considered quick steps for me, but slow steps for anybody else, towards her direction to try and get the rumblings to get close to her area.
Yep.
Hopefully we can scare it off.
I will loose another arrow when available.
Sure.
And Viet will run over and attempt to lift up Elryn.
Yep.
Do you want me to roll an athletics for that?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. What's your strength again?
His strength is 19 and his athletics is 6. So he's modifier for athletics.
mega jacked.
Yeah.
He's a muscly farmer.
So I think from here we go. Carrying capacity, lift. The twice your carrying capacity. So what was your sorry, what was your strength again?
19.
19. So twice.
I mean, 19's basically almost the pinnacle of like mortal strength.
So 38. Up to twice your carrying capacity or 30 times your strength.
I'm also still carrying the backpack.
Oh. Well, the backpack's slightly less important than your potential.
So, Viet, you go over and you pick her up and lift her up as best you can. Being a dwarf yourself, you basically still got to, you still bit of it's like dragging on the ground, but you lift her up enough to actually drag her away from the spiders, who actually did. The closest one actually fled as soon as Sharkbite moved closer.
Well, it looks like all those years of toiling the fields and chopping down trees and picking potatoes and fruits paid off.
So picking up old sacks is coming good and handy at this point in time.
Yep.
Sweet. So I will say, Percy and Red Sand, you are the only ones that kind of like are free at the moment. Red Sand, you've knocked another arrow.
Yep.
I'm
going to try and kill the one that I've already hit.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Oh.
So you see it running away, you just knock another arrow and take a shot and get it right up the old backside.
If I see
right
that
up the silk spinner.
Right up the silk spinner, yeah.
If I see that happen, I'll follow along with that kind of aggression and take a couple more steps forward, rather than just following the momentum of where the aggressors now, so they seem a little bit more intimidated, hopefully.
Yeah. Percy.
Yes.
What is it you wish to do? I feel like you're pulling back.
To hang out. Yeah. I think I'm just going to follow what everyone else is doing.
Okay, so Red Sands. You don't want to die?
Cowering from spiders.
Okay, so Percy, you're a bit hesitant in actually engaging in these things close combat, considering you just saw one of your crewmates just get taken out in one strike. So you stay back. Viet, you've got Elryn in hand, and you're moving it away from the danger.
Yeah.
Sharkbite and Red Sand are pressing the advantage and moving towards the spiders, who, as you get closer, are moving away. I will say you can make another nature attempt at this time. Sharkbite, Red Sand. I'll say Sharkbite or Red Sand, either one of you, because you're the ones actually observing the spiders. So it's at this point that you both come to the realization that it's the actual fire that Sharkbite's, the torch that Sharkbite's using. The spiders seem to hate the open flame and actually move away from it every time you get closer.
Well, upon noticing that, I'll take a quick moment to look at the dwarf that's carrying the mermaid, and say, "Be her life forlorn to the spider's bite."
He just goes, what? Eh?
Be she dead.
I don't know.
I'll get a sailor's check if somebody's alive. Probably not great medicine.
Viet, you can actually get asked that, and the only way you can tell is by slapping her on the face. So do a medicine check.
do a slap check.
Yeah, Viet's doing a slap check / medicine.
Lose a death save.
It's like slap. All good, Ash?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were waiting for someone else to slap.
No. Viet, you can't. Sharkbite's asked you if she was alive, and
I said,
you're like, I don't know. So you just, do the only thing you think you know is just slap her on the face, and I'll count that as medicine check to see if you know.
Oh, okay, cool. Where are we? Sorry, because I thought someone else was going to do it.
No, because you're currently holding onto it.
It's just that when you said do a medicine check, Viet's too dumb to understand. That's why I didn't click. Sorry about that.
Well, you do a medicine check, and you notice she does kind of stir.
He just yells at the top of his voice, I slapped her and she moved.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a good sign.
Right now, I need actually Elryn to do a death check. Death save.
All I can imagine is this. I needed to see if she was alive, so I slapped the bitch.
Oh, God. That's so wrong.
It is.
With the woven pimp.
And funny enough,
sorry.
that actual death save, that kind of stirs you from consciousness for a fraction, and that's why, you passed your death save, because that slap actually kind of helped you a bit. Kept you not, like, because you are, in a sense, like, down, but you're still conscious in a certain way. And the slapping that Viet gave you kind of stirred you awake for a second, but then you pass out again.
I'll say, I suggest we bind her wounds, and then take another couple steps forward with an idea.
Yep.
So I'm assuming other people have better medicine than I do.
Yep. And as you continue to move closer, these spiders up here, they begin to actually move deeper into the woods. And after about a minute, they actually disappear altogether.
Does somebody have a dagger? Or like a knife?
I do. It's not really a weapon, but
I want to try and harvest one of the fangs of this dead spider.
oh,
Yeah.
well then actually that's the specific purpose that the dagger is for.
Excellent.
I have a ritual dagger.
Yeah, it's about there. Right there.
So assuming you actually asked that out loud, I'd be able to hand that over to you.
Yeah, I would ask for the dagger because I've only got a rapier and that doesn't really lend itself to filleting.
Surgery, yeah. I'll say, make sure you burn the remains for fear of attracting other nasties. And I'll sort of look around and maybe light the campfire if I can.
Yeah, it's still currently caked in web, but you managed to easily burn away the web. And
Save the campfire for later. What I was going to suggest earlier, I say as I'm busying myself with the corpse, was we should head back to the beach and get the rest of the crew together and come back to secure this place and either fix it up to make into our camp or salvage everything that we can and find somewhere better.
Well, considering what just happened, I feel like it's probably safer on the beach.
Possibly, but we still want the others to come back so we can, make the trek as few times as possible.
True.
Ferrying everything back. But for now, Elryn's life is more important, so I'm guessing survival to harvest?
yes, survival for harvest.
Oh, fuck.
Nice.
You cut a blood vessel and just get caked in blood.
That's a good thing I've already read.
Yeah, but it stinks as all hell. Elryn, I'll get you to make another death save.
Okay.
Alright, so you're doing alright, you know. You're still not out of the woods yet, but it's looking promising. You are kind of stirring, like, in Viet's arms. And you are moaning a little bit in pain. But that's a good indication that you're still alive.
Okay, so once I have Fang, let's go.
Yep. So you got the Fang now in your hands?
Well, if we're going to leave, I'd still take a minute to look for any immediate items that are worth taking back with us, because we've still got these other 2 tents that we didn't really look into. So if I feel like we've got the time for it, then I'll gather whatever like loose bits of timber there are that are just around the edge of the camp and put them next to the fire. And suggest that everybody looks through the tents as well.
No worries. So this is before you decide to head back to the actual coastline, correct? Alright. So I'll get Elryn to make one more death save, or a death save, not one more, because she might fail this one. Yeah,
why do you have to say that?
Sorry, that was not my intention. I jinked it. Too bad this is not real wood, so I can't touch wood. So at first it looked like she's doing alright, and then she stops breathing for a moment.
In that case, if Sharkbite's going to stick around and keep looking at things here, Viet and I should start our way back to the beach.
Yep, no worries.
Well, if you're going to do that, I suggest you take a torch or something as well.
I suppose if we've got enough, if there's enough spare material, we can fashion up another one.
Yep.
Well, at this point we have practically infinite wood, but we also do have a supply of, flammable materials. It's just... Oh, actually, no, we've got these tents, so we could harvest the canvas of the tents for torches and stuff as well. So I think we're fine. I'll give you my torch.
I'll say for the purposes of making torches and all that, there is
plenty of scrap.
Plenty of scrap for you to make more, like at least 10 torches.
Yeah, I'll give you mine if you want.
You really don't need that much in the way of materials just to make a slap together, like torch and all that.
Won't cut up any tents just yet because we may want the canvas intact.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get Elryn back to the beach and try and take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone's following, or is it just Red Sand and Viet? Just want to clarify.
Well, are you guys hurrying immediately?
As soon as I've got a torch.
Well, yeah, I'll give you mine. But I was going to say, is there a point in rushing? Because I think the medic is one of the missing people, right?
Correct. Anna and Oriana are the crew members that are like the main crew members that are missing, and Anna was the medic.
But either way, we know that there's threat here.
True. I mean, I was mentally assuming we'd be okay if we all huddled around the fire, but that could not be the case as well.
I do still want to bring the others back anyway, so...
Right, well, I'll let you go immediately, and then I'll give a quick rifle through the stuff, and then if there's nothing that important supply-wise to take back with us, then I'll head back quickly after. I'm going to be slower anyway, is the problem.
Sorry, Tash, what was that?
Oh, it was me. I said I'm
No,
gonna
that's
stay.
Sorry. What was that, Alex?
I'm gonna stay with Sharkbite. And
Okay.
like also the spiders went back into the jungle, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't actually.
That's why we've got a torch each now.
Yeah, because you only killed one, but the others fled into the actual jungle proper. So, danger isn't necessarily over. All right, so Sharkbite and Percy stay back to just check around the remains of this camp a little bit more further. Red Sand and Viet make their way back to the first camp they made. Each one kind of holding on to Elryn as they go. I will say you get about halfway, or what seems to be about halfway back towards the campsite, towards the coast. Elryn, I'll get you to make another death save.
We needed at least one person trained in medicine.
Yeah. So,
well, looking at Viet's skill with the slap before, he's actually got a higher natural score than what I do.
I mean, mine's okay, but I don't think I would ever be inclined to, to actually do medicine.
So,
well, maybe you could say that it was because Viet's actually had splinters and had dislocated joints and scratches and shit when he was a farmer, so he's learned home remedies to patch himself up and patch his family members up. So maybe that's why he's got the 3 for medicine.
Yeah. So as you're making your way back towards your first camp, you actually notice that Elryn doesn't appear to be is breathing normally. She appears to be she's still in pain, but she looks like she's out of danger.
And then Viet will say to Elryn, "Old peg-leg man will be happy that you're alive, I think."
But she doesn't respond because she's still out of it.
Yeah, well, Viet probably would have noticed that. He would just say it anyway because he's an idiot.
Okay, so while this is going on, Sharkbite and Percy, you're still at the camp. I'll get you guys to just do an investigation each, just to check out the rest of the camp, see if there's anything of value.
Can I get my bird to help me?
Yeah, you can do that, and so you'll get an advantage on that.
I'll just get him to fly around and look for anything shiny or ominous, I suppose.
Sure.
Anything shiny or scary?
Anything shiny.
Exactly.
So Percy tries his best to look for anything of value or anything of use, but you're still you're not really paying that much attention, as you're more worried about the spiders that ran into the wood, into the jungle. So you kind of just, haphazardly just turning things over, but you're really keeping an eye out in the jungle. So if there was anything of value or anything of use, you wouldn't have really spotted it. But Sharkbite, with the help of Percy, begin rummaging through the tents and all that, and it looks like that anything of value was already found in the first search of the first tent you came across, because this one down here, all that's left are some old bones, half buried within the actual sand itself, and Salty, during his investigation, he doesn't really. He thinks he spots something, but when he kind of looks at it a bit closer, it's just a piece of broken metal. But yeah. So.
When you say old bones,
humanoid?
Yes, definitely. Well, firstly, they are human bones.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. How old would I be able to guess? Are they dried out, done to the wind, or are they just freshly decayed skeletons, or
medicine roll?
She. Where is Mittens? There it is.
Bones are bones.
Alright. But I would be able to understand that, like... Oh, actually, did we know how long ago this other ship went missing? Like, would... basically what I'm trying to say is, would the bones match up to the ship, or would they be from some other people that might have come through before or after?
No way of knowing. There's, like, apart from some rags that the bones are wrapped in, it's pretty much... It definitely looks like they've been there a while, but as to who they could have belonged to, it could have been a crew member of the Calm Delilah, it could have been just some other unfortunate soul. But I will say, for the purpose of this, it stands to reason that most likely it's the Calm Delilah, because of the camp setup and all that, and the crates that you found that were marked with property of Calm Delilah.
Right.
I will say this though, I missed it before, so my apologies. You do find something odd actually where the fireplace is located. It's I was playing here a second ago. Yeah, you find actually over here. You actually notice a stone archway, and you see what appears to be come on, I just saw it before. Where is it? Oh, come on. Yeah. With a number of you find a number of heads carved into the actual facing of the stone archway, and from what you can tell, each head is in a different stage of change. Like one starts off it goes from an actual skull all the way to an actual face.
Ominous.
Hmm.
Would I have any idea of a cultural significance or anything else? Or is it just purely decorative?
At this stage, make it generic intelligence.
Brain power.
You don't really know the specific meaning behind it, but one possible reason for it is it could be a record of passing of time, But that's just one theory.
Oh,
but I will say this. There's 7 of them. Each one of them is in a different state of change. Like I said, from skull all the way, from a face all the way down to a skull, from left to right. There's 7 of them, and you also notice that in each face, the eyes are actually hollowed out.
Strange. I'll go back to Percy and I'll say, do you have any clue what this might mean for us going forward?
Do we go back over to have a look, or did you bring it to me?
No, they're etched into the rock.
Stone archway over here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably have no idea.
I mean, you can make an intelligence roll and determine it. Try and...
Sure.
It is kind of strange, though.
Well, I'm assuming it's a sign of life before whoever else came here. Sentient life.
Yeah. Percy, it is definitely strange, but you just cannot put any kind of meaning towards it. maybe, like to you, maybe it could mean, you know, like people that have died in the past. Maybe there's a record of who died. You know, how many people have passed away in the past. Someone came along and just etched them into the rock. But why they made like them different in each etching is like, yeah, hard for you to really understand. Maybe it's just the tinkering someone who'd gone mad, been stuck on this island for so long. So back to Red Sand and Viet, you continue making your way through jungle, and you eventually make it to the other end of the trail. And as you make your way out into the actual coastline, you see the captain, Koresh, and Franklin all standing, like sitting in the actual center of the campsite. And Koresh is actually one that spots you, and it's like, Captain, the others have returned. The Red Sand and Viet. And it looks like the Titan, Elryn. She doesn't look so good. And Takumi kind of looks over and stands up. What happened? Where are the others?
Then Viet will just say she got bitten by a spider. The others are back at the camp that we found that has supplies and other things, I think.
Takumi kind of pipes up and says, "What do you mean, come? You mean there are others here?"
There were.
We did find the name of the Calm Delilah, just for reference.
Yeah,
well,
True.
Red Sand can say that because Viet wouldn't have been paying attention.
Yeah.
I would, but my attention is more on Elryn, getting her comfortable and making sure that she isn't actually poisoned.
Yeah. So
that's why Viet didn't know, because metagame I know, but in game my character was too focused on picking up Elryn.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have been paying attention to all the other stuff that the people were finding.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's all right. I mean, that's fine. But at this point, like, you bring Elryn to the actual others, and you lay her down, and actually look at the wound she received, and you see these 2 puncture marks in her abdomen, and the actual, surprisingly, just I don't know how, but she has still been bleeding out. No one actually thought to look at the wound earlier, so she has been bleeding, but it's been a slow bleed. So while she's out cold, there is a chance she could turn worse if she's not tended to. So, but Franklin kind of runs over with something to kind of bind the wound as best they can, and he kind of looks and he goes,
how there was still, there was still almost half a dozen spiders that we know of in the area, so I just thought it best to get well away from there.
It's like, spiders, you say? As Franklin speaks up, pipes up and goes, they must have been pretty big to inflict these kind of wounds.
I show him the fang.
It's like, bloody hell. Could really use Anna right now. God's to hope she hasn't perished in the ship from the night before. She could still be alive, but I'll do what I can. Let's see. Alright, so he does his best. He gets some like torn rags and kind of packs the wound as best he can and starts wrapping it like in a bandage and then tying it securely. And after a couple of minutes, he kind of wipes his brow with sweat and he goes, "That's all I can do. Hopefully she's got a strong will to survive." And then at this point, Takumi kind of speaks up and he says, "What more can you tell me about this camp?"
It's old. There's some. It's very old. Like no trace of anybody being there anytime recently. The whole place is covered in spider web. But we did see on the side of some of the boxes the Calm Delilah.
The Calm Delilah.
Yeah.
So maybe this is where she ended up. Maybe she suffered the same fate we did. Right. And he kind of stops and thinks for a second. He goes, well, I need to see this camp, but I don't want to risk moving while she's wounded like this.
Yeah. I was intending for us to come back and get your... so that we could clear the camp out properly and have a good look around, but unfortunately the spiders just got the better of us.
Alright.
So the other two still decided to hang back and have another look around before they came back. Fortunately, the spiders do appear to be very afraid of flame.
Well, that's a good thing to know. If we ever encounter them again, we better have some torches prepared.
Yes.
So as you and the captain are discussing this, going back and forth, Sharkbite and Percy, you've thoroughly investigated this camp as best as you can. There's nothing really left for you that can really help you at the moment. I mean, so do you guys proceed back to the others, or do you stay?
I had one final question. Does it look like the stone gate leads off in a path of some kind?
It looks to be like it does lead off an actual path into parts unknown.
And is that the direction of which Salty would have seen any structures?
It's at this point you probably realise that maybe this camp was what Salty saw.
Oh. Then in that case, I'll send him off to go look in that direction and follow the path, and then come back to me at some point.
Yep, no worries.
And then, yes, I'll suggest to Percy that we head back.
Okay. So you send Salty off to begin exploring where this path might lead, and at the same time suggest to Percy, that it's time to head back to the others at the camp they made along the coast. So you guys head off back along the trail that you guys made, and after about an hour of walking, you managed to reach the other camp and find Elryn laying on the ground, her stomach wrapped in bandages, and you see Koresh kind of tending to her at the moment by wiping away the sweat that's accumulating on her body. Franklin's at just going through whatever supplies that they were able to salvage, and Takumi and Red Sand is still in discussion. And as you make your way out, and it's actually Takumi that looks over and says, "Oh, you're alive! Thank goodness. We thought you'd lost you." Red Sand was just telling me about what you found.
There be signs of life, but long gone and far before us. I believe we have a path set to look for whatever the Delilah was looking for here.
Right. Well, that's a start, I guess. Yep.
Well, I was gonna ask as well, what rumors would I have heard about this island, other than the treasure? Is there, the dangers that I've heard, is it just that it's a dangerous place, such as wild beasts like the spiders, or is there any mystery behind it?
Some rumors you've heard say that the Isle is haunted by the spirits of sailors that have shipwrecked and ended up being stuck on this island. Other rumors is that the island's actually home to a terrifying beast of legend that should never be awoken. And other rumors is that it's actually the hideout for Pirate Guild, and that's where the whole treasure story then comes from. Is that it's actually where pirates store their treasure, and anyone that tries to actually steal it or comes to the island is met with a terrible fate. But these different rumors from different origins.
I'll mention that to him. I'll say, Sandy here believes us to be on Dead Man's Isle. And I'm sure you've heard a tale or two about islands like this. I think we best keep the crew tight-knit, lest we find few of us on our journey.
And he nods in agreement with you, and he's like, I've heard plenty of stories about certain islands holding, monsters and treasures, and I just hope that this is just not one of those, and that we've just come to a plain old generic island. But nonetheless, we better stay sharp, prepare for anything.
Well, I can tell you this, Captain. I've been around for a very long time, and I can tell you, some of these rumors turn out to be true. I've seen it firsthand. And I tapped one of my legs.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner.
You're in one.
True.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it was quite appropriate, actually. So, yeah. So at this time, everyone's just, resting, planning the next move. And after about 3 or 4 hours, Elryn, you actually stir awake, consciousness, sore, but awake.
And dry.
And, yeah, dehydrate a little bit, but you're awake. So you got 1 health point.
Yeah.
So as you come to bleary consciousness, you notice a massive half-orc just staring over you. You're right, lass. We thought you lost you there for a sec.
Don't know what happened.
The others say you got attacked by giant spiders.
Right.
And just judging by those wounds, I'm inclined to agree with them. But you're alright now.
And we're back on the beach.
Yes.
Okay. Is everyone else back as well?
Yeah, everyone's now back at this camp that you guys made up at the start.
I was just about to say, if it has been a couple of hours, I probably would have recognised my bag and gone through it, emptied everything out to get it to start everything drying.
Yeah.
Particularly the torches. And also, with the captain's permission, I would like to make my way back to the camp and with said empty backpack, and try and grab as many of the rations that we've found.
Sure.
I'll take a torch to fend off the spiders, and I feel that going by myself would attract less attention.
Well, I was going to say, wouldn't it be wiser to take a couple people with you, and you can take the tents and stuff to protect against conditions?
Oh, I was just going to bring some food back for everyone, so that, while Elryn's still recovering from that and not making her move around too much, in case we decide to spend another night on the beach before we check out the camp.
Yeah.
Well,
I was gonna say, like, Koresh can go with red sand.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a sense of camaraderie and crewmanship, it seems that Jones would be a little bit concerned about Red Sand going off on their own.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so...
a quick, no crew left behind mentality.
No, and Koresh is kind of the same way, and so he actually, like, when Red Sand actually made her way off, Koresh has actually stood up and it's like, you ain't going alone, I'll come with you, give you a hand. So he follows Red Sand to this campsite and begins helping her carry as much rations, and
I suppose between we can actually bring back an actual crate or two.
Yeah, well, Koresh being a strong fella, he can actually carry a crate. Yeah, he's a pretty like burly sort of guy, strong muscles, so he's able to lift a crate or two.
And also because of, like, we've already travelled the path twice, I'm starting to get more familiar with the surroundings. I will actively look at the map that I found, and literally try and pinpoint where we are, and because we were distracted from that by the spiders before.
Yeah. So I will say, if you're looking at the map.
Yep.
Whoops. Now, not that one. Where is it? If I can find it, there you go.
It's called Play a Map of Ireland, if that helps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, not that one. I've got a different one that helps me. There we go. So...
Or page 21, I think it was.
Yeah. So, you guys arrived in the north, like, along the coast, I would say in the southwest, where the X in the southwest is.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yep. And you followed where the line kind of, like the arrow kind of curves and then meets another line that goes straight up to the centre.
Yep.
That's the path you took.
Okay, so the camp is the central...
Yeah, the camp that you found, all like the spiders and all that, that's the central one.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I have an idea of where we are then, now.
Excellent. So, yeah, so after a couple of hours of going back and forth, getting supplies and all that, you managed to secure all the rations and the camp, like the remains of the tents and any other pieces that you believe would be useful. And during this time, Salty actually returns back to the camp and he flies down towards Sharkbite and he goes, "Right, sticks and stones break me bones." And he says this like 3 or 4 times.
Would I have an inkling as to what that might mean?
Sticks and stones could just mean, it could be, he's found a whole pile of stones, or, a structure made out of stone and sticks.
Or a talking head just shouted abuse at him.
Yeah, or something like that.
Are there other birds on this island?
Have
you seen any?
You've been hearing them going for the last hour.
Fair enough.
I'll probably start hunting some soon.
I'll ask him then. You seen any structures, man-made things, bird?
And he just goes, "Arr!" Like a really, like a bird kind of "arr."
Do I take that as a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good. Then I'll look back across the rest of the group and I'll say, I think we might have found our next bearing.
So, Takumi kind of pipes up and he goes, how can this bird tell you? It's nothing but nonsense to me.
You train a bird to do what you want over the many years, and he learns. My captain from many moons ago had this bird. It's been around for longer than I, as far as I'm aware. I don't know what's with the bird, but it be a creature with an intelligence beyond the norm.
Well, I'm inclined to strangely believe you at the moment, because it seemed to have found the campsite that you were talking about before.
Well, he has keener eyes than most.
Not to mention that we've seen it die at least once.
Well, it'd be a hearty bird, that's for sure. I can understand why it always returns, but I can always manage to put him back together.
And they just, like, the captain just shakes his head and goes, I have no idea what you're talking about there, but I'll just leave it at that. And he goes off and begins talking with Franklin. At this point, it's about midday. The sun is at the highest point in the sky. Because you set off like early in the morning, and it's been taking you like 4 or 5 hours journey time, going back and forth. So yeah, so there's still plenty of sun out.
And I think it's about time that I crack open the tin.
Yeah, so you just realised that that box with the rusted lock.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, some more important things going on.
Yeah, and yeah, so
gotta
you
make the
begin.
pocket stop vibrating somehow.
Well, actually, that's actually stopped now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it kind of died out after a while. But
once it understood that I wasn't going to look at it.
yeah, it's like a really annoying pager.
I mean, was it like vibrating, or did he sense it vibrating? Like, is it a noticeable thing?
He noticed it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's more of a
sort of a
thing,
thrum, like I said before.
or a her thing.
I would say the closest thing was it felt like a heartbeat, like a thump, thump, thump. And it got increased in tempo and strength as he got closer to that first tent you explored.
Interesting.
So, with the padlock, or the lock on the front, it looks rusted enough that you could potentially break it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a rock around here.
Yeah. And then as you go look for the rock, you're like, oh yeah, I've got a crowbar.
Oh, yeah.
So you grab the crowbar.
Adoy.
And doy. So I'll get you to do a athletics with advantage because you're using the crowbar. Alright, so you put it in and you barely have to put any kind of real strength into it, and it's just like
I just touched the crowbar to it.
yeah. And it just breaks off. And so you put the crowbar aside, pull the lock off, and when you open it up, you see a whole bunch of goodies, which are you find a leather pouch, what appears to be made of like snakeskin. When you look inside the pouch, you see what appears to be a tooth of some kind. A ball that looks like it's made of brass, and a collection of assorted seashells of different colours.
Oh,
But what actually gets your attention are a number of pages similar to ones you found in the past. And I will now...
I mean, are you just doing this out in the open? Because considering Jones's background, he would be somewhat interested in the opening of a found chest.
Yeah.
I'd probably have moved off to the side, but considering that I've already spoken about it, I won't be secretive about it anymore. I just wanted to look through everything before I actually brought it forward.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're being obviously secretive about it, then I don't think Jones would approach you immediately. But then, if not, then he would just look on as like an interested observer, like pretty much anybody would.
So the Red Sand not entirely secretive about it, but not openly discussing it either.
Yeah, like I probably would have moved a few steps away from everybody else before I did it. But,
all right, well then
but at the same time, not wandering off into the jungle so that I'm out of line of sight or anything stupid like that.
Yeah, and I'll observe from afar, not meddling with your affairs.
Cool. So, Brad,
ooh, that's
pages
a nice amount of pages.
from 13 to 16, and then from 23 to 27.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I've got some reading material.
So, as Resan goes off to look through the little case that he found, Viet, that actually reminds you of the broken cutlass that you found.
Yes.
Do you let any others know, or do you keep it secret to yourself?
Well, I did tell Viet did tell Sharkbite about it.
Ah, right. So Sharkbite.
They both walked out of the tent with their stuff.
Ah, very good point. So, yeah, Sharkbite, watching Red Saint go off and looking at his own little thing, it reminds you of the other item that Viet found, of the broken cutlass.
Well, was there anything interesting to it? When you described it, I just imagined it as a broken, shitty, rusted cutlass.
Yeah, so
is
apart from obviously
valuable or intricate?
Well, it's covered in blood and really dirty, and you can't really tell. I mean, you can try and clean it if you wish, but yeah.
Well, I suppose that'd be up to Viet, because after seeing that, I would probably put that out of my mind. I'm more interested in what treasures or artifacts could be in that box locked away.
Well, so would Sharkbite suggest to Viet to clean the sword, because Viet probably wouldn't have cleaned it without being told to do it or having it suggested to him.
Probably.
Well, yeah, true. Well, that's the thing. Would Viet need someone to tell him to do that? Because, it's would he be curious to try and see what else he can find on it, or?
Well, he might be. Well, actually, probably he would be. He'd probably think, "Oh, I'll give it a wipe and see what's there." Even though he wouldn't understand it, he probably still would do that. Yeah. So we'll say that. Yeah, I'll say that Viet tries to clean off the cutlass.
Yeah.
I will say there's not much else to do on a beach for multiple hours with nothing around.
Yeah. So, you start looking over the sword and all that, and at first you think, oh, it's just a broken sword. So you do start looking at it, and you do spot something, like something in the blade. You can't quite pick out what, but you start cleaning it off and cleaning the dirt and the blood and all that. And you spot something actually etched in the blade, but you don't know what it actually is.
I would Viet would just call out to everyone and say that there's weird symbols carved in the side of this sword. He doesn't know what they mean. And he asks if anyone else wants to have a look.
That would then instantly perk the curiosity of Jones.
Alright, so...
Yeah, I'll walk over. I was about to offer a swig of rum to Elryn, since she's under the weather. Because that fixes everything. I'll leave the bottle.
Sniff it and just I wouldn't be too sure about this. I would probably ask what it is.
I'll say, it's nothing but a clap of thunder to wake you from your dazed state.
Okay. I guess I would try and cook some.
Yep. So you give it a bit of you give it a sniff, and it singes your nostrils. And you look at Sharkbite, and he's kind of like, yeah, come on. So you take it and have a small swig, not like a big chug of it, but a small swig. And as soon as you swallow it, you feel this burning sensation run down your throat. And as soon as that happens, you just start coughing and like dry reaching, and you almost drop the bottle. And because you're violently coughing and all that, you cause yourself to move awkwardly, and you feel the pain in your guts from the 2 puncture wounds that you got. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh dear.
You die again.
Die by rum.
So as you start, you stop coughing after about a minute, and then you kind of look up at Sharkbite, and Sharkbite, you instantly see the glazed over look in her eyes, and she's got that, like someone is like got that red sort of nose and under the cheeks, under the eyes and all that from drinking way too much. Hey?
But it's more blue.
I'd say it's a dark sort of colour and all that, and you can see that.
It would be purple.
Yeah, she's like, this alcohol is taking effect, and she's just looking at you like.
I'll
Glazed.
put the bottle down in front of her and say, a few more licks of this and you won't be feeling your wounds so much anymore.
Yeah, you are now.
Anything.
Yeah, this drink is potent, and you are now.
Oh, you need drink it for the taste.
You got a drunk titan.
Well, if it be a poison, it be a good poison.
It's a poison fighting a poison.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'll leave her the bottle and then go over to Viet, who's been looking at this sword.
Yeah, so Elryn, you've got this bottle of rum and you're intoxicated. One swig of the stuff has made you.
I'm turning you into an alcoholic. That's my new mission.
So after you do that, Sharkbite, you move over. You head over to Viet, who shows you the etching in the sword, and you realise it's some kind of writing.
Is it infernal?
No.
All right. Well, I'll look at it, and then I'll say, these runes and markings be beyond our comprehension, it seems. And I'll open my book and then flip to what looks like the back couple pages, which have probably similar looking runes and symbols in there, inked in pen, and a bit smudged and stuff. It's not a neat looking journal.
Yeah.
And then I'll trace my hand over that, go into my pouch, and I'll put one hand out for the sword and say, "Would you mind?"
Viet will hand it over.
And then I'll reach into the pouch and, like, my hand will come out with just like a handful of what looks like ash.
Yep.
Or that's kind of ironic. Ash or
you pull ash out of your bag.
Yeah. I can disassociate from Viet and myself. It's okay.
And then I'll wipe my thumb along the blade where all the marks are and rub the soot into it.
Yep.
And as that happens, I'll chant a couple words, and it looks like the runes sort of glow and move about and rearrange themselves as he whispers these sort of like weird voodoo incantations. and I'll cast Comprehend Languages, so I'm able to read it.
Okay. So, do you know? Does that make you know what the language is as well, or does it just convert it into a language you can understand?
It doesn't specify, so unless I have an inclination of like having seen it before somewhere, then no, I would have no idea what it is still.
All right. So, yeah. So you
turns it into something that I can understand.
Yeah. So after a short while, the ruins and all that start changing and shifting, and they turn into common, and you finally able to read the words, "My dearest Lavina."
Lavina.
Hmm.
Have I heard that before?
In context, the best you can determine is that it's the name of a woman.
Or what was the captain's name? Started with M or something, so it's not that.
Last night, you realise that from memory, the captain of the Calm Delilah last name started with an M, but you couldn't actually remember what.
Interesting. Does the sword itself look like it was an ornate sword, like for somebody who had money?
It quite possibly at a time like when it was first forged, it could have proven to be it definitely wasn't an heirloom. You can judge that just from looking at it. It definitely was a weapon of war, but the hilt of it or the handle of it, it had a unique sort of what's the base of the sword called? The
hilt.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the right at the bit where it sits on, like at the end of the actual handle.
Oh, the pommel.
The pommel, that's it. It has an intricately designed pommel.
I would assume I'll say to Viet, it seems you have your hands on what I would imagine to be the captain's sword.
Oh, and another thing too, both Viet and yourself both notice that it's really cold to the touch, but it is very, very light. Even though it's half of a blade of a sword, it's still pretty light.
Then Viet will look at Sharkbite and say, "Does this feel extra cold to you?"
Interestingly, he'll say, it does not have much heat to it, but I nay have much feeling of my own anymore. And he sort of looks at his fingers in a weird way. But then he looks back to the sword and then looks at Viet and he says, there might be some sort of magic upon this weapon.
And Viet looks at Sharkbite very, very surprised because he's never really heard of magic. He's only heard people talk about it briefly, and he's never experienced or never believed in it. So you can see that he's starting to look a little bit excited and also a little bit scared and timid at the same time because it's a new concept for him.
How far off is like the broken point of the sword? Like, I'm assuming this was like an arming sword or something, or a cutlass, or
it's definitely, it appears to be similar to a cutlass. I would say because you got the handle, you got the hilt, and then I would say you probably got like half the blade.
All right.
So I would say the blade would probably be, I don't know, that 50 centimeters maybe, 50 or 40, 50 centimeters of the blade, and then the rest is gone.
Well, I'll suggest to Viet, Something clearly is unnatural about the weapon. Perhaps you can try using it on something when we can get the chance.
Viet will nod and say that he'll say that I was a minute man, so I know how to use this.
Well, I'm glad one of us can be able to try the weapon. I may be much of a fighter myself. I know the ropes more than I know steel.
And Viet will just nod.
So I'll hand him back the sword then. And I'll write into my notes about Lavina, however you pronounce that.
Lavina.
And my assumptions on it being probably the captain's name.
Viet will take the cutlass back and fasten it or sheath it beside his javelins, and just nod and walk away.
So the image I just brought up, the rusted cutlass, so that's basically what it looks like, but the half of the blade's missing. So you got the pommel, the handle, the hilt, and a little bit of the blade, but the actual pointy bit is missing. So
interesting.
So you guys begin looking through this, going over what you found, and begin planning your next stage. And with that, we will finish it for the night. As you guys are beginning preparing for the next leg of your journey on this island. So,
Nice.
so we shall conclude it there.
We have treasure.
That's good because I'm going to have to read all these pages all over again. Oh my god, this is getting.
It's positive that the book has ended in the hands of the one person that's most motivated to read anything.
Yeah. It was just like that because I rolled to see who would get the book, and I rolled the red sand. So
seems like this is a legitimate journal at this point.
Well,
yeah, just wait.
Interesting.
Yeah. So who knows? You might know what it's about.
You didn't happen to say the name of that on that sword out loud, did you? Or just read it to yourself?
Yeah, well, I would have been able to understand it myself. I think I only said that it would be the name of the captain.
Yeah, so Viet wouldn't know that it was Lavina or anything else. And that's fine.
Might have to start trading secrets.
Well, I think that's less of a secret being held and more of a just
not
knowing if anybody else considered this information important.
Yeah,
true.
Although it is pretty clear that Red Sand has some sort of connection to this island now. If you had an idea that this is where you were.
Yeah, I'm going to have to really research these pages properly over the next week because I have a feeling that that's going to be at least the first half hour of the next session.
Inside knowledge.
Well, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 pages to go through. Like I read all the ones that I'd gotten over the last couple of sessions, of course, and sort of gleaned. I have a fair idea of the important bits and pieces of them. But now that I sort of have more pieces of the puzzle, I've got to go back and read more and. Yeah.
Interesting read.
Very interesting read.
Well, I'm going to get off now, guys. Thanks for the game. Good fun.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, no problems. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So thank you all for jumping on. Sorry I wasn't able to do it last week, but all good now.
It's alright.
No, that's alright.
Anyways.
So, yeah, I look forward to seeing how this progresses next week.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that I didn't check the sound properly before we started, and we missed out on that first half hour. But we've sorted it all out, and
Yeah.
Just have to assume from the chat and the map movements.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple spiders creeping towards the party is probably pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I'll have to splice together the two videos, because when I actually stopped the stream,
Yeah. Oh
well.
It's all trial and error when you think about it. So.
Oh, very much so. I'm still learning how to use this software myself, and it's just because I've gone back from the laptop to the PC, and that's why I didn't think to look it over properly.
Yeah, that's all good.
I don't think I've edited a video for like 10 years, so you're a step ahead of me.
Yeah, I used to really be into it when I was younger, but yeah, not so much now.
Yeah, well, there's a program that's native to Windows which I've already looked at, and it's pretty self-explanatory and easy to use from what I've seen. I just need to figure out if we want to add anything to the videos before I actually upload them.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen some videos of streamers where they've got like little caricatures of the people who are in the stream that sort of light up as they're speaking and things like that.
Oh yeah. I get you.
Which I don't know if I'd be able to rig something like that up to happen while we're actually streaming, or if it happens post.
No, I think they do that. It's like a Discord plugin or something.
Yeah. It's got to be something easy, otherwise they wouldn't do it as well as what they have. I'm guessing.
Who knows?
But yeah, we also just need some artwork. I'm sort of looking at the other Chris's wife to see if I can commission some artwork for us.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Very cool indeed.
And seeing how successful Dingo Doodles is with the way her animation style, it doesn't need to be pretty.
No, it doesn't have to be anything like, fantastic or anything like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you overdo it, it doesn't seem to work as well.
Yeah. So that's the main reason why I haven't actually uploaded any of the videos to YouTube just yet.
Yeah.
I'm still sort of trying to see if I do want to add anything to them.
Right.
Before I do, rather than just going, here's the raw video, and then after a while go, here's a prettier one.
Shit.
But
Good.
yeah, I should probably do it just so that now that we do actually have some other people watching as well, they can go back and catch up.
Yeah, well, that's it too. So,
And on that note, thank you very much for watching along with us, and I apologise again for the technical issues earlier in the evening.
Some sorcerer just cast a spell and it backfired.
Oh yeah.
So.
And I was that sorcerer. Bows with a flourish.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all, and catch you next time. Yeah.
Catch you next time.
Have a good night, everyone. See you guys next week.
Yep. Take it easy, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.